You ever live next to someone who believes rules are for everyone else, but not them? Let me introduce you to Madeline Sharp, or as the neighborhood came to know her, Madam President. Not of the country, no, just of our little HOA. But you'd think she was running the CIA, the FBI, and the UN all at once. And me? I'm Reed Dalton, former Army, now a civilian contractor for a federal defense lab based in Granite Ridge, a quiet mountain town in Colorado. I oversee a classified testing site camouflaged as an empty stretch of land just past the edge of our neighborhood. You wouldn't think a couple acres of forest and grass could cause so much trouble, but when you combine that with Madeline's thirst for power, a megaphone, and a few Facebook conspiracy groups, you get the perfect storm. It all started when she moved in. She bought the house across from mine about 5 months ago. Divorced, no kids, big golden retriever named Liberty, and an even bigger chip on her shoulder. Within 2 weeks, she'd declared herself interim HOA president, claimed the last guy wasn't enforcing order. All he'd done wrong, really, was leave her a note asking if she could stop yelling at delivery drivers for using her driveway to turn around. But Madeline didn't like to be challenged. She started patrolling the neighborhood like a mall cop with delusions of grandeur, writing fake citations, measuring grass height with a ruler, demanding people repaint their shutters to match HOA-approved tones. And then she set her sights on my property. Now, to the average person, my place just looks like a rustic cabin and a wide-open field with nothing but trees and weather sensors. But that nothing is actually a high-tech field test site for non-lethal defense systems. Motion sensors, drone beacons, sonic deterrents, robotic K9 units, you name it. Everything hidden beneath the illusion of wilderness. The land is technically mine, but it's leased through a long-term agreement with the Department of Defense. And trust me, there are very clear no trespassing signs posted all along the perimeter. But Madeline, she saw it differently. She knocked on my door one afternoon, holding a binder labeled Community Safety Concerns. Told me my antenna structures could interfere with bird migration and that the soil activity was affecting the spiritual balance of nearby trees. I politely told her the land was restricted under federal contract, and she needed to stay off. She smiled and said, "I don't need permission to protect my community. I have authority." I should have known then it wouldn't end well. A week later, I caught her hovering near the edge of the field with binoculars and a GoPro strapped to her chest like she was filming a nature documentary. I reported it. Local sheriff gave her a warning. That didn't stop her. It made her worse. Madeline believed, and I mean really believed, that I was hiding something. Not just tech. She was convinced I was running some kind of secret environmental weapon operation. She started posting vague warnings on the HOA Facebook page about unknown electromagnetic signals and suspicious late-night equipment movement. And then, one morning at 6:30 a.m., I got the alert. Perimeter breach. Zone 3. I pulled up the security feed, and there she was, marching straight through the restricted line in full neon yellow tracksuit, shouting into a megaphone, holding a pair of bolt cutters like she was about to break into Fort Knox. Her Facebook livestream was already going. 3 people watching. One of them probably her dog. "This is a citizen inspection," she yelled. "If I disappear, it's because I found something they didn't want me to see." At that point, 3 aerial drones had already rerouted to track her. One robotic unit, our K9 decoy named Argus, had locked onto her heat signature and was maintaining a 20-foot perimeter. Madeline didn't even flinch. She walked right up to one of the drone towers and started poking it with a fallen branch. Now, here's where it gets good. The first line of defense is a high-frequency sonic pulse designed to scatter wildlife without harming them. It emitted a soft whine, barely audible to most people. To Madeline, though? It was apparently proof of a brainwave disruptor. She screamed, full-body scream, dropped her megaphone, fell dramatically to the ground, then popped back up and yelled, "I know you're in there," at a shrub. I was on my way up in a government-issued Jeep, listening to all of this through the audio feed, and I just couldn't. I pulled up next to her, stepped out in full uniform, tactical vest, ID badge, headset, and said calmly, "Ma'am, you are trespassing on a federally restricted test zone. You need to stop moving while we assess potential equipment interference." She pointed at me like she was casting a spell. "You! I knew it. You're experimenting on us." "This isn't HOA property," I reminded her. "This is federal land. You crossed 3 barriers. This is a felony." That's when Argus approached, lights flashing, voice module blinking, "Warning, halt." She screamed again and said, "Is that thing reading my thoughts?" It wasn't, obviously, but she dropped to the ground again, shouting, "They're abducting me!" By the time my team arrived, she was crying, cursing, and trying to call the local news. She actually yelled, "This is bigger than Watergate!" The footage was incredible. So incredible that when I reviewed it later, our intern clipped it into a 30-second highlight reel and emailed it to the Pentagon's media office as a joke. It went viral, inside the Department of Defense. By noon, someone had already asked if we could use the footage in federal training programs for handling civilian breaches. And me? I just shook my head and said, "Why not? Let's make her famous." Now, here's where the story really takes a turn. After being charged with trespassing, destruction of government equipment, and interference with a defense operation, Madeline decided to fight back with her cousin, a former chiropractor turned legal consultant who once tried to sue the DMV for vibrational harassment. He filed a formal complaint accusing me, and I quote, of weaponized landscaping. The judge didn't even try to hide his laugh. The case was thrown out in minutes. Meanwhile, the HOA board had an emergency meeting. Public. Full attendance. People were done with her nonsense. Madeline showed up in a sash that read Community Enforcement Director and brought a binder labeled Operation Exposure. She gave a speech comparing herself to Rosa Parks, Erin Brockovich, and the woman from the Terminator movies, all in the same breath. Someone in the back shouted, "You assaulted a shrub, Madeline!" The place exploded in laughter. When she tried to accuse me again, I pulled out my phone and played the clip, her yelling, "Is that dog scanning my brain?" while flailing in the grass. She left the room, in tears. That night, she resigned. Well, technically she was voted out, but she posted a resignation video claiming she was stepping down for safety reasons. A month later, she moved out, packed her bags and joined a survivalist commune outside Santa Fe, where she was later kicked out after a fight over compost protocols. And me? I got a letter of commendation from the Department of Defense, plus a plaque that reads, "This site was defended during the sharp breach of 2025. Unauthorized citizen inspectors not permitted." I mounted it right on the post next to where she made her infamous entrance. Every time I walk by it, I smile, because deep down, I know she really believed she was the hero, the guardian, the watchful protector. But the truth is, sometimes the loudest person in the room is just plain wrong. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with a power-hungry HOA board member or a neighbor who thought they were the law? Drop your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you enjoy a good HOA disaster. Thanks for watching. Stay sane out there. And remember, just because you bought a megaphone on Amazon doesn't mean you're right.